Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of The Walking Dead. So in this episode, a big chunk of it focuses on Michonne and Rick, basically going out trying to find the guns they need for the new group that they met. Obviously, the guns for them to help deal with the whole savior situation. And it's a very interesting thing, like the episode. Obviously, it's a lot of like Rick and Michonne, like, oh, maybe we should go back. And it's like, no, we shouldn't go back. It's like, oh, just another day or two or a day and a half. It's like, we could go a little further. And it's just like them laughing and just like, there was even a point where it almost seems like when they're dealing with the walkers, because they found a whole bunch of guns. Obviously, they're on a whole bunch of walkers and stuff like that, because there was like a whole thing that went down between some soldiers and stuff like that, as well as some regular civilians. But basically, it turns into a situation where it's like, oh, we're trying to come up with a plan to get rid of all of them. It's like, Rick is like, you take care of, I'll take care of this one, you take care of 8. She's like, you won't make me take care of 8? He's like, no, you can take care of 8. And then, like, after she dealt with him and he's dealing with the whole car situation, he's like, hey, don't worry about it. You did your 8, I can push. She's like, but I can push too. Things don't necessarily work out. He's stuck in the car, she's in the trunk. It's just like a weird circumstance of like, then they start corralling the walkers a little bit, almost turning into a game. It's like, oh, how many you have left? I have 8. How many you have? And he's just in there. I got 10. Then there's got the whole deer situation. Like, it bothers me because it's a situation where like they even fell through the roof of that place, one of the places, because they were on the ceiling of it. They were on the roof and they fell through the ceiling and landed and were laughing and stuff. To me, it's a situation like they were too optimistic. It's, I guess, how I was putting it. It's like they're so focused on like, no, we can do this. Yeah, we can do it. It's like, oh, we can go home. It's like, no, we ain't gotta go home. We can do this. Like, yeah, I know we can do it. It's like they have this mentality of like this. The best example I can kind of give is like, once again, kind of pushing the boundaries, but it's like last season on The Flash, after Barry had his experience with the Speed Force, he had that whole situation where he was just a little too cocky. He's like, oh yeah, nothing can stop us. We're on top of the world. I mean, granted, that all came crashing down. Obviously, if you haven't watched like season 2 of The Flash, obviously I won't spoil it, but even though I technically did, but it's a similar circumstance where I feel like they've got this mentality that like, oh, everything's working for us. We got to keep our energy high. We can't back down. It's like, now we can do this. We can go a little further. It's like with just the two of you, it would have been smarter to go back, gather some bigger numbers, come back and deal with this situation. But it's like, nah, it just, that's how I'm looking at it. That's how I'm interpreting it. Maybe that's the way it was meant to be displayed. Maybe it wasn't. But to me, it's a situation where it's like they're trying to deal with this situation with like super optimism. Like, oh yeah, we can keep going. We can move forward. I mean, it's actually something interesting because it's like, well, when it was all said and done, there was a moment where Michonne kind of broke down because she thought Rick had actually died because she saw them eating something. But I mean, Rick popped out and like, but she was to the point she dropped her sword and everything, and he picked it up and tossed it at her, and they just start slicing up walkers again. But it was a point where she was just like broken and just like on the drive back, like after they gathered up all the guns and everything, she was just silent. And he actually talked to her. He's like, the fact is, I haven't been sleeping lately. And there was a point in the episode, like, when she was still sleeping, and he was just sitting up in bed. And I guess that's what that's supposed to represent. And the fact is, he's like, I've been thinking about everything. He's like, all we've lost, all of my friends. The fact is, especially Glenn. He's like, Glenn saved me. If it wasn't for Glenn, like, from the very beginning, like, obviously, like, we're talking, like, very, very beginning. It's like, Glenn saved me, like, and if it wasn't for him, like, I wouldn't be here right now. And it's like, I wasn't able to save him, and it bothers him. Like, the fact is that they're like I said, this whole situation is almost like diverting away from what happened and versus what's also going to happen, what's coming in the future. Because it's a situation where it's like, spending all this time, he's like, oh, I wish, if I could, I wish we could have had a few more days, because we're, like I said, on this little trip on trying to stay in this perfect little bubble. But when it's not that, because a lot of stuff has still been on his mind. The fact is of all they've lost, but also what it means going forward, because going forward means that there are going to be sacrifices. They haven't been thinking about it. They've been looking at a very fantasized notion of how things are. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to come together, we're going to fight it. Because there's even the conversation Michonne had of like, what are you going to do when it comes, like, when it's time to, like, when it's all said and done, when we defeat the saviors and stuff like that. None of the conversations entailed like, oh, all the people they'll lose, but that was eventually what, Rick brought up later. It's like, there will be people that die, people that we know, people that we love mostly. Hell, it might even be one of us might even die. And I mean, it's not even just, there's a chance of it. It just really comes down to things. But she had brought up the conversation of what after that. It's like, basically he's like, well, what we have to do is kind of like Negan kind of created his own order, and it's like up to us to kind of bring some form of other order back to the world. But, what we do is we have to bring all the communities together to find a way to do that. And she's like, oh, Rick, you need to be the one to lead the group and everything. And he's like, I don't want to do that. He's like, the fact of the matter is, he's like, we should do that, you and me. So, because he can't imagine doing it without her by his side. But it's a situation where it's like, they're going to have to accept that reality. They have to be willing to go on if something does happen to the other one. Because that's the only way they're going to come out of this. It's because the fact of the matter is, she had brought up the conversation of like living the way they lived with like under Negan's rule, just doing stuff, giving tributes to Negan. Is like, she's like, is that living? And it's like, he realizes now, he's like, no, that's not living. This, doing what we're doing, gathering these guns, getting ready to fight them. When we fight them, that will be living. This is us fighting for our lives, fighting for our chance to live. And it's not even just because he's like, because even like Rick is like, it's not even about us. It's about the future, Like, even in this situation, it's like the fight so that there's a future for Carl, that there's a future for Judith, for Maggie and Glenn's baby. But it's a situation that also, like, we're not fighting for us. We're not trying to fight to free us now. We're trying to fight so that they will have a chance to do whatever it is that they need to do, to build whatever future they need to be. We need to lay down the foundation to lead a path for them to go down. So we need to stop thinking about like, oh, what this situation will mean for us. We need to think about the future that will exist beyond Negan, because that is a conversation that's never come up before. What do you plan to do after Negan's done? I mean, it's just like any situation. It's just like you try to build more going forward, just trying to find a way to survive, but then eventually even that surviving isn't just enough. You have to find a way to live. And it's like, how will you live when this is all said and done? And it's like, especially when we've got all these different communities that's been affected by the saviors and stuff. So it was it was a very interesting episode. Because like I said, it kind of threw me off kilter a little bit. Just the whole, like, them laughing and almost making a joke out of the whole situation. But to me, that was just like their way of compensating for everything. They're trying to stay in this perfect little bubble of, no, we're on top of this. We can do this. Just have to believe. But it's like, believing's fine and dandy. But it's time to be realistic. Some of us are going to die in this fight, and it's like, it's not a situation where we should be afraid of it. We have to face it. This has to be done. We can't stay in this situation. We have to move forward. And sad fact is, some of us will die. It'll be some people that and also be some people we straight out love. So it's something that has to be kept in mind, because he's even suggesting that when it's all said and done, like, it has to be her who leads them on. If it's in a situation, she's like, why does it have to be me? It's because you led me here. It's like, with her by his side, like, ever since they've met, like, she's helped push him, and like she's kind of helped push him to where he is now. That she's helped guide him down, like, because there's parts, obviously there's been points in the past where, like, even Rick's been lost, that Michonne's kind of pointed the way, that she's been kind of by his side guiding him, and says, like, even with everything changing, like, their relationship into what it is now, it doesn't change the fact is that, she's kind of, in his mind, I guess, a better fit for leading this whole situation going forward. So obviously they end up returning the guns to the other group. I don't know what the name of them is. Like I said, I call them the junkyard. Let's call them the junkyard community for now. I think I called them something else before, but whatever. Just refer to them as junkyard community. And they're like, oh yeah, you got us. Oh yeah, 63 guns. That's awesome. Yeah, not enough. Wait, what? Yeah, 63 guns. That's a lot. It's like, yeah, but it's still not enough. And they start bargaining. And it's like, okay, give us like a few guns. And give us like 10 guns, and we'll take those and go out and try to find you even more guns. She's like, 5. He's like, 10. She's like 7. And then like 10. She's like, 9, and you return a cat. And then you just have Rick just going, what was it like? It was like 20, and we keep the cat or something like that. I guess it's like, no. I earned this damn cat. You're not taking it back from me. So that's definitely interesting all on its own. And on the other side of this, kind of connected to that same situation, is we find out that obviously we still have Tara. I didn't realize that group was named Oceanside, the ones that helped her. But nevertheless, when she and Keith were out in that community she came across, but she refers to them as Oceanside, she finds herself conflicted because there's this whole situation about trying to track down guns. As we brought up before, like, she still hasn't said anything to anybody about it, and she's conflicted about it because she knows, like, if she tells anybody, if she tells Rick about those guns, he cannot leave there without those guns because it means fighting against the Saviors. And it's like, yeah, they have problems with the Saviors too, because basically all the fathers, sons, and, you know, just all the males were wiped out from that village. I mean, of that community. And it's like, yeah, they have incentive and want to fight against the Savior too, but more so than anything, they don't want to fight with the Saviors. They just want to be left alone. They want to hide away. So what will most likely happen is that they'd most likely fight Alexandria just to get them to go away. And now all that would do is lead to some of them dying and even some of their people dying for what? You know, something that wouldn't happen. It most likely would end up with all of Oceanside most likely dead, with some of Alexandria dead. Yes, they have the guns, but it's like, at the very end, would it even be worth it? And for Tara, she's even more conflicted because it's like the girl that helped her out, it's like she made the promise that she wouldn't tell anyone about them, but it's like, it's a situation where she's like, is our lives more important than their lives? Because that's how the situation is going to go. Because she doesn't see it going very diplomatically, that it's going to turn out like that. But it does seem like, I mean, at least what it's alluding to, it does seem like she finally decides to tell Rick at the end of the episode. Because she's like, oh, was going to come see you. He's like, oh, what were you going to come to see me about? And it's like, well, that. Also on the side of this episode, we also had to deal with the whole, like, Rosita situation. Because Rosita's having a, like, basically being angry, still angry, obviously. Like, Tara's being like, let me help you and stuff like that. She's like, no, the fact of the matter is, do you really think we're going to find any guns? Obviously, as I brought up already, Tara hasn't said anything at that point. But it's like, Rosita's like, the fact of the matter is, there's no guarantee we'll find any guns. This is all, like, I can't just sit here doing nothing. I have to go out and help find guns. Because the fact is, like I said, Rosita just has a problem. She can't sit still because she feels useless if she isn't doing something. And it's kind of it coincides with the conversation she has with Gabriel, because she blames Gabriel because Gabriel's the reason why she's still alive, because she listened to Gabriel. She didn't take the shot on Negan when she originally wanted to, because she let Gabriel kind of get to her. She listened to all his bull crap, and she's like, you're an idiot, you're a fool, why did I even bother listening to you? You don't know what the hell you're talking about. He's like, honestly, I don't. The fact of the matter is, he's like, the fact is, Rosita's problem is like most people's problem in this circumstance, she doesn't know how to live, because to her, dying is so much easier in this situation, because it's like, after everything that she's lost, all like the things that have played out the way they've done, because she took that shot, now Eugene got taken, Olivia ended up getting killed, like, you know, because she didn't kill him sooner, you know, that led to Spencer getting killed. So it's a situation where it's like she just can't live with everything that's going on, and because she feels like she has to do something with her life. Even if it costs her her life, she's fine with it, because at the very least it would admit that Negan was dead. Like I said, for her, it's not even she doesn't care about the aftermath, what that means for anyone. All she cared about was trying to kill Negan. She wants Negan dead because it's the only way she can deal with the whole fact is, like, because she wants to go out in a blaze of glory kind of situation. Really, it's not even like that. All she cares about is just dying, because that's so much easier than going on every day with everything that's happened, feeling the way she feels. And Gabriel's like, yeah, I'll have to live with the fact is that it's my fault that you're alive. But it's like, the fact of the matter is, you are alive, so maybe you should do something with it. What are you going to do with it? Obviously, you're sitting here talking to me and everything. And obviously, I only talk to people, I only say the things I'm saying to people that come here. You came here, so obviously you wanted an answer. You wanted someone to say something to you. Question is, like, you know, obviously now you're regretting that you listened, but now it's, you know, it's just, like I said, she's confused, she's angry, she has a heart, she doesn't know how to live. So she just wants just an excuse to die, so. But he's like, oh, find something better to do. Isn't there's something else that you're meant to do besides just sit here and waste your breath on a fool like me? So, which we see at the very end when she comes to Sasha. I was like, he's like, oh yeah, I wanna. She's like, oh, she's about to walk away. Like, I was like, oh, she came here to see Abraham. Turns out not to be the case. She came specifically for Sasha. She's like, I need your help. She's like, okay, on one condition, I get to take the shot. I'm like, wait, yep. both of them decided like we're gonna take out Negan. Sasha already had it in her head about doing that herself, and it's like Rosita, they just both came together on this. Obviously, one got like it's all about taking out Negan, and they know it's a situation where it's like, yeah, like she says exactly like the fact is that they need more time, they need more guns, they need more people. She's like, oh, they're making up excuses. It's a situation where it's like, with their numbers now, I guess in Rosita's mind, it's like we should be just going straight ahead and going after them. But it's like, because they're trying to win this and not try to like minimize the casualties by having more people to kind of increase their odds so that not everyone dies. I guess that's what she means by necessarily excuses, is like the opportunity's here, we just aren't willing to take it. It's like, so it's like me and Sasha will do it. So, but Sasha also brings up, she's like, yeah, but this also means this is a one-shot deal for both of us. We have to know what this means going after Negan. The fact of the matter is we can't let them capture us alive, because that means we will break. We will say something that will kind of get them in trouble, like, or, the rest of the team in trouble. So it's like Alexandria, or say something will slip. So it's like, the moment we do this, it's like we're kind of making a promise that when it's all said and done, we'll either kill ourselves or make sure each other is dead. Obviously one of us will make sure one's dead and the other one have to kill themselves just to make sure that none of them gets captured by the Savior. So when it's all said and done, so obviously I do not see this going very well at all, but I mean, it's going to be interesting. Like I said, Tara's told Rick what she knows about Oceanside. Now it comes down to whether this can all be set. I mean, granted, Sasha and Rosita are probably going to move on this quick. Also, what does this mean going forward? Because, as we learned last episode, Eugene's kind of fitting with his situation. But nevertheless, like, I am also wondering, is he just playing that part because it's all about survival? I mean, like I said, last episode seemed like it was cementing that him and Dwight are just getting accustomed to their new circumstances. Don't know. I mean, because the fact of the matter is, now that we also know it too, their security has been beefed up because of Eugene's ideas too. So that's going to make things even harder. I mean, granted, their only target is Negan. All they need to do is find a way around their security and everything. So I guess that's why Rosita is letting Sasha take the shot. I mean, because obviously Sasha's one condition, but also because it's like she had her shot and she missed. I mean, she actually didn't. Lucille took the hit, but still. So a very interesting episode on so many different levels. Very interested to see how this all will play out next episode. I have my ideas about how this is all going to play out, especially Rosita and Sasha's plan. I have my ideas, but I'll kind of keep that to myself just because stuff. The whole grand situation, don't know how that's all really going to play out. I feel like there's so many more things that need to unravel first. And obviously, just because it can't be that simple, just for them wanting to kill Negan, it won't be that simple. It can't be that simple. Trying to take out Negan, at the very least, they can at least say that they're dead. So it's payback for obviously Abraham, Glenn, and everyone else that he's ever killed and just been a part of it. Just like, they need their revenge. Like I said, also Rosita just needs an excuse to die because she can't stand living. So maybe Rosita's also looking this as her opportunity to do what she needs to do, because she was said, because obviously Gabriel keeps telling her, it's like, oh, we need you. So maybe this is her playing her part, or being like, okay, this is what I need to do this is my part to play. This is me giving the group an opportunity. It's what this is all about. So, like I said, we would just have to wait and see. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.